I'm excited for today's project. I think every shop and every maker should have one of these. So what is it? It's a tool wall. This video, I'm gonna be turning this blank, boring wall into hopefully a very cool tool wall. So in my previous shop, I had a French cleat wall and I absolutely loved it. So I was gonna redo a French cleat wall here until I recently saw Rainfall Project's tool wall that he built. So what he did was traced every tool that he has and then made a specific bracket for that tool and put it up on his wall. It looks fantastic. Go check it out, Rainfall Projects. So what I did was took his idea, dumbed it down a little bit because I'm not near as talented as he is, and I created my own brackets. So I didn't do it per individual tool like he did. Some of the things I made, I mean, they're pretty cool still. Like this wrench holder turned out pretty sweet. I don't want to show you too much of that until it's up on the wall. So one goal of mine is to have this wall sort of match everything else I have going in the shop. Well, this tool wall might look pretty good on this blank white wall, but I think we can do a lot better. So I grabbed this piece of MDF and we're gonna paint it, start the montage. All right, enough of that. So that was actually pretty easy and pretty fast. While the paint dries, I have two things that I want to get done. One of those things is I want to hang these corbels. I want to put these up above the window and I'm going to use these for wood storage. I guess I should mention that I made these out of 10 gauge steel. So they should be plenty strong for that. I got a bunch of this 7/4 maple that I'm going to throw up there. I think these will handle it just fine. The second thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this workbench here behind me. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to find a new place for my shop girlfriend here. But that's all right. All right, finally the paint is dry. And now I'm gonna attempt to hang this by myself. So I have everything set up. I got the nail gun ready for me to grab. I got my laser set up. I got my spacing marked out. I think I'm ready. Hopefully I can do this by myself. Wish me luck. Nope, we're gonna have to go to plan B. And for plan B, I have an idea. All right, so my plan is to hang this cleat up on the wall and then I can just rest that board on this cleat and nail it into place. All right, well that wasn't ideal, but it worked. It's up, and I think it looks pretty darn good up there. I really like the green. I like how it matches with everything else in the shop. Well, I just installed the plug covers back. I think I gotta get some black plugs and black covers. I think it would look a lot better on this wall. All right, let me explain the spacing I chose real quick. So ultimately, I plan on removing the plasma table from this room. I plan on putting it in that room, closing up that wall, and then I regain this workspace back. So I made the spacing here the same as there when the wall is eventually put up. All right, so now that that's up and looking pretty dang good, I think I'm gonna start hanging things. The first things I'm gonna hang are these guys. So these are my attempt at F-clamp holders out of metal. These are probably the worst looking things that I cut and I'm going to put on this wall, but I'm gonna do it anyways. And I'm gonna start with these. My plan with these, because these are a bit heavy, is to try to land on a stud. I wanna do one here, and I'm thinking the other one about here. Now the hard thing with working on this side is the plasma table's here now. Most of the tools I plan on putting up here are everyday use tools. Maybe what I'll do on this side is things I don't use as often, but still use semi-regularly. I can still reach over there and grab them. It's not that bad. I also want to add, I really don't have a plan with this wall. I'm totally winging it. I'm taking you along for the ride as I figure this out. I think it'll be cool. I didn't really want to plan ahead. I kind of wanted it to be organic. Not bad. Sweet. All right, I think the next things I want to hang are the grinders, the surface conditioning tool, and the shears. So lately I've been doing a lot of work right here off of the plasma table, and it's been super convenient having these plugs right here. I have my grinder and everything just hooked up to those plugs. I work on it right here. So my plan is to have simple little grinder hanger hanging on the wall so I can just throw the grinders in there and we'll work the conditioner and the shears around it. If you have multiple grinders and you don't have something to hang the grinders on, I highly recommend it. It's a total game changer. Speaking of which, I'm kind of thinking about making and selling things like this. Obviously, I would make them look a lot better than this one. This is super basic, but I don't know. Maybe we'll get there down the road. You can never have too many grinders. In fact, I wish I had one more. Before I move on to the shear and the surface conditioning tool, I'm, believe it or not, gonna do a mallet, and I'll explain why in just a second. I made up this tiny little bracket or hanger, I guess, for the mallet. It works absolutely perfect, but it serves another purpose too. I'll explain in a second. All right, so the other day when I was designing all of these tool hangers, I was trying to come up with something for this and this. And then I looked at this little mallet hanger and I thought, it's perfect. It works great. And then for the conditioning tool, it's not as perfect, but it works pretty darn good, especially if I got it down low. So just to make it easy, I cut out a bunch of these. So I'm gonna go bend these real quick and we'll get these installed. All right, those turned out great. I add a little kicker at the end of those just to help hold everything on. So cool. All right, so we need to figure out where to place the shears. So I use the shears for cleaning up material coming off the plasma table. When I cut something out and I got a bunch of leftover little stuff on the material on the table, I just quickly zap it off with these real quick, and then I take that leftover scrap and I just throw it outside. So really, I don't use these very much. So maybe over here to this side. So I thought about making a big old tray for this to sit on, and I might in the future. I think it might actually look a little bit better flat than hanging, especially because being heavy, I want to land on a stud. Same with that. So my spacing doesn't look the best. All right, I think for now, for simplicity, again, I'm just gonna go right here. All right, well, that's not exactly my favorite. I think we'll work on that as we go. All right, the next thing I want to install is this guy. This is pretty cool. I actually got the initial design off of Langmuir's website, which is the plasma table. And then I altered it quite a bit. I basically kept from here over, and then I altered from here over. I'll show you here in a second what's going on this side. All right, I think my plan is to hang this guy here. I made this 24 inches from screw hole to screw hole. That way it can land on a stud. I don't know if you can see it on camera very well, but these are different sized notches up to here. These bigger notches are for these clamps. Cool. Then I made notches a little bit smaller for these. And I got a few openings over here and a few over here. Can never have too many of these. All right, and then this part here, I'm pretty excited about. So this might seem kind of silly, but I use pry bars all the time. So I specifically cut out these grooves to fit these pry bars. These two are big. This one steps down a little bit, and this one even smaller. I really, really like this one. Again, I might try to sell these. Let me know what you think. Should I? All right, next is probably my favorite tool hanger that I cut out. This thing is so simple, but yet it's so cool. I might have got a little heavy with that surface conditioning tool, but still looks great. The wrench holder I designed with a similar idea also. These tabs over here are much smaller than the rest of the tabs on both sides. So I could do standard and metric and have my tiny little wrenches on the ends. I'm missing a few wrenches. I know they're somewhere around here. I just need to find them. But it'd be real cool if I could have this be fully filled in. Found two more. We're getting closer. All right, I think next we'll keep on going with the mallets. I like to use 3 different type hammers or mallets, if you will. I have the dead blow mallet. I have this crazy thing that's like a mallet on one side, hammer on the other. I don't know where I got this or how I got this, but I love this thing. And then just the good old school hammer. So I think we'll just keep going in line with these. Get this on. That being kind of crooked like that drives me crazy. It's coming together. So for now, that's all the tools I have hangers for. The next thing I want to do is, to me, one of the best things, and that's magnets. I love using magnets. I like to use magnets for things that I use all the time, such as a square. Calipers, I don't use this that often, but boom. I mean, doesn't get any better than that. So I think I have 5 or 6 magnets that I'm gonna hang up here. I'm basically just gonna fill the voids with magnets. All right, normally I would not put chisels up on a wall like this, but these are cheap chisels and I don't use them for finish work at all. They're not that sharp, they're not that great. What I actually use them the most for is I use the big one for knocking the dross off of pieces when they come off the plasma table. Works great for that. Or if I'm working with, I don't know, crappy wood, or I'm trying to hog something out or beat on something, that's what I use these for. Good chisels, I'll keep in the cabinet, keep safe, you know what I mean. And something I really don't use very often, but is very handy to have. I have no clue what these are called. If you know what these are called, let me know. Screwdriver, wrench things, these do come in handy, but I hardly use them. So I'm gonna put them way over there. I think I'll put the chisels way over there too. All right, well, I really like the way this is turning out. I have a few issues though, and there's this big void spot and this void spot here. And then obviously the other end, but I'm not too worried about that end. I was standing back, I was looking at the wall, like, man, what would go good there and there? Well, I think I came up with the perfect plan for down there. What's the one thing everybody needs in their shop more than probably just about anything? Pens and pencils. So I made this thing to hold the pens and the pencils. I think I'll put it right over there in that little void, and then we'll move on to the other void. I kind of like this project because I can be somewhat artistic with it also. It's not just placing tools up. I got to kind of have fun. It's kind of abstract art in a way. I don't know, call me weird, whatever. All right, now to address this little void here, I have my KSB Creations. Now this one's a tad small for that space, unfortunately. I had it on the shelf over there where the power tools are, but it kept falling every time I grab a tool. So this will be perfect. I'll hang it up right there. Maybe later I'll cut a bigger one. We'll see. Well, that looks pretty cool. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a void here. I was actually thinking as I was doing that, should have had these taper up maybe, would have looked cool. Then there would have been a void down here because there's always gonna be a void on the board somewhere. Well, I came in here this morning and my eye immediately went to this void spot. I don't know why. I have this whole side of the wall, my eye goes right there. Maybe because I know that this has to stay blank because the plasma table's in the way, so I gravitate to that. But I think what I'm gonna do there to hopefully solve that is I'm just gonna add another magnet and I'll just put small stuff on it, like countersink bits, some Allen wrenches that I use for some of these tools, some impact drivers, just a few things I'll put on this magnet. But that way it just fills in that little spot. Sweet. Well, unfortunately, I'll have to address that side later, but at least this side behind me is looking good. There are a few things I want to do on the wall over there, so let's go check those out. All right, so if you remember earlier, I took out the workbench right here, so I have a few ideas for that. One of them is this drill press. I had that little one on the workbench, but it was far too small. I got this one from the same guy I bought the metal brake from. It's way, way better. Second thing, if you watched my last video, I built this for a porta-band. Unfortunately, it was too short, but it worked out great to use as a benchtop grinder stand. The third and last thing I want to put on this wall is my second edition porta-band stand. So like I said, the last video, I built this stand and I kind of went over it in the last video. It's too short and it had a few things I needed to tweak. So I fixed everything that I didn't like on that one and made this one. This one's perfect. Well, I think we can call this one done. I'm super thrilled with this. I love the way it turned out. What do you think about it? Do you like the color? Do you like how big it is? Do you think I did okay with organization on the wall? Do you like the green? Did I miss something? Is there something I should add? I like to hear your guys' thoughts. It's fun. If I had one complaint on the whole project, it would be this gap right here between the wood storage. But I think I can play on that. Don't mind the gaps over here. That'll get filled in later. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.